All right.
Hi.
Hello, Karma.
We're having a lively if only we could discuss.
Oh, well, we could discuss.
Yeah.
We just had a long conversation offline. By the way, this is Family Karma Cast. My name is Indra.
I'm Deanna.
And we were just talking about white privilege in Boulder.
Right. And
how it's running rampant.
It's running rampant. I have like a mix of shame because I'm white and anger because I'm angry at the other white people, including myself.
No, there's some shit going down on Deanna's block, which we won't get into.
Does anyone listen? We won't get into because in case anyone. Yeah, but
I think this is my takeaway from our conversation is that when you see people, whether you yourself are white or a person of color, if you see a space that is just too white for its own good, call it out. Like, go ahead and call it out. I think one of the greatest things that happened this year was that calling out that type of behavior has become normalized, and it's okay to do that now, and people aren't going to come after you, hopefully.
Well, it was interesting because episode 1 and 2 I watched, and in my white space, with my white privilege. And then when you discussed about the woman passing as white, I looked at it through a slightly different lens.
Yes. And did you see more of that in episodes 3 and 4? Did you notice it a bit more?
Yes. And again, I don't know whether to be critical of it because I am a white woman and a part of the problem because I get to walk around with my skin color, or if I'm allowed to be upset because I believe these women are beautiful for who they are, and whatever skin color, I'm not sure if they change their skin color, but accepting who they are. And I just am a huge component of that as a woman.
I mean, I think that they're just naturally fair skinned. One thing that I noticed that was like a stark difference was when in episode 4, Neelam was getting the Botox.
Right. Which the
fillers. The assistants
were
darker. Much darker, noticeably so. Yeah. And I was kind of like, wow, actually, this is the first time I'm seeing like people with darker skin on the screen on the show, which is kind of shocking.
Right.
So that's just really interesting. But let's talk about this lunch with Karan.
Okay, so it's Karan?
Yeah, Karan.
Karan.
It's hard to say. Yeah.
Sorry. He's a fireball.
Oh my! Was it planned to be like this therapy session?
I'm wondering if the producers were like, "We need you to stir the turd.
If we need
go
you
in
to
there,
ask,
guns blazing."
Do you notice all the women were only talking to him too? Like they were talking about the woman sitting next to them, but talking straight to him. It was like, wow.
But is that a level of respect or because they just can't deal with the emotions tied to the relationships?
I think it's a can't deal situation. And honestly, that's not a cultural thing. I see that all the time, like with like men who are trying to open up to someone and they can't actually look them in the eye. And you know what? That's okay. If they need to look at someone else or they whatever, like
look at the ground, look at the sky, look at the person down this whatever.
Totally. But like this was a therapy session. And then
the interesting thing is the thing that I appreciate about my longtime guy friends, male friends, I always appreciate a male that can hang with the women and not assert himself as a male. And I think he did that really well.
I agree.
And that's the thing that I love. I think that's why I chose like my partner to be my partner and my husband. And that's the thing that I love about my guy friends is like, and I don't have that in Boulder. It's more like back in New York. But like you get one guy and he can hang out with the chicks.
Yeah, and he can like Yeah, and I felt like he was so respectful, Karan was, of these women. And he was asking probing questions respectfully. And just and honestly, is like you could tell he was just trying to help, which is like so great.
Or stir the turd.
And stir the turd a little bit, obviously. But he was doing it with humor and lightness. And I think that like the women were okay with it. And eventually what the disagreement that Seema and Bhavana had was just like, this is between them.
What did you think about that?
Well, so this is a common thing that comes up in the Housewives in America and now in this show is like
having each other's back.
Like, are you going to stand up for this person or not? And I honestly, like, what do you think about that? Do you think it's bad not to stand up for someone?
Like me, or just what I want to see?
Like, what do you think is the right thing to do in life?
So I'll just say, my dad raised us of like he always talked to me about. It's like, and I'm raising my kids like this. And again, this is siblings, but I had this with my friends too. Is kind of like the gang mentality. It's like if someone's going to throw down, I will be right there.
Okay, so loyalty is important.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit, because if you watched Mob Wives, which I'm bringing another reality show into this, which is a fantastic dive. If anyone needs another reality show, it was on TV. Mm-hmm. The Italian loyalty part and family was very much like it. If she throws down, I'm right there. So I've always been that kind of person.
But what do you do when it's two friends of yours?
Because they're related, right?
Well, there was that whole like you're technically my niece situation. There's some connection through marriage, but the thing is, Bhavana is friends with Seema, and then there's woman X. We'll just call her
woman X. So X.
And clearly Bhavana what seemed to be saying to me that she agreed more with woman X than Seema, and whatever they were fighting about
was stupid.
But that she maintained, I just want to be neutral. I don't want to get involved. So like, sometimes there are fights that happen where it's clear where your allegiance lies and you stand up for that person. What happens when you are friends with both of these people, they're having a conflict, and you're asked to take sides? Like, so, Karen?
It's the meme I sent you today. So the meme I sent... Okay, so it's like... It's a meme, and the first part says is like, I don't want to get involved with other people's relationships. And then it says also me, and it's the ghost scenario where it's like Whoopi Goldberg, Demi Moore, and Patrick Swayze.
But what was the first picture?
It was no picture. It was like, I don't like to get involved with people's shit, you know? And then it's like also me. You know, so
but
it's
I
like,
also want to be really involved.
But like, I'm also like when someone's like, I got something to tell you, I'm never someone. I've never been.
Yeah.
Somebody be like, I don't want to. I'm always the first person. Like, you got to spill it. Like, I need.
But like, Bhavana is not that. Like, she truly seems like someone who doesn't want to be dramatic, but also, when you're not standing up for what you think is right, then like, what are you, right? So
that's the thing about Bhavana is like, I can't.
She's tough.
Read her. Like I'm not saying she's forgettable.
No, but she
doesn't have a hardline personality to be like, oh, she's like this.
She's elusive,
right?
And I don't know what happened between these two people.
What about you? I'm sorry. So I didn't pose the question back at you.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'll just tell you.
Yeah.
I feel like she should have maybe just been a little bit more like, this is what I think, and I care about both of you. Like, I care about both of you, and this is what I think. And I know that, and from my read, she was more on woman X's side versus Seema.
Right. It seemed
and she
like
should have
Seema
just said,
was in the wrong.
Yeah, I think she just like, Seema, I respect you. You're my friend. I don't really want to get in the middle of this, but if you're asking for my opinion, this is what I think happened. It doesn't say anything about my allegiance to you. I mean, that is a risk, right? And I don't think Bhavana likes to take risks. I think that is it. She doesn't like to take risks.
That's a really good point.
Like the Botox, like all of these things. She doesn't like to take risks. And I relate to that.
Or maybe she
Honestly,
doesn't like to put
do.
herself out there, like the Botox.
She doesn't. And she said it. She says, I don't like to get in the middle of things. I don't want to be part of the drama. She's kind of an avoider. But when you avoid too much, like the Sheena Shays, you start to make enemies because people want you to say what you really think.
Right.
And so she needs to do more of that, I think.
Yeah.
And
it's weird because Neema plays that card a little bit too.
Seema? Or Neelam?
Neelam, excuse me, Neelam.
And Bhavana and Neelam are like the friends. Like, so we're seeing like Bhavana and Neelam have this thing. And then Seema and Maheep have a thing.
Neelam, again, what we talked about, comes across as very sweet. The only thing she takes a stance of is she doesn't want to do acting.
Yeah.
Which is huge, but no one's listening. I mean, do you want to know
what
the
did you
shocking...
think of that? What about that conversation she had with her friend Ekta about the thing? She was like, I need your advice.
And her friend was like, just do it. But she doesn't want to do it. I've never seen two people who don't want to do something than the husband not wanting to get dressed.
Oh my God.
And her not, and someone who doesn't want to act. And it's just like these people just don't want to do these things. Although the not wanting to go and get dressed, that was so staged. And her acting ability and that was kind of not great. Because did you feel like she was acting? I was like... Because they had the camera and it was like on the living room, right? It was like the wide shot of the living room with the door of her coming in. And I rewound it because it was like, and action. And she goes, step, or like step.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And I was like, this woman, I don't know if she should act.
No, she's not a good actress.
Because...
sorry, Neelam, but...
Neelam is gorgeous and
she's so pretty.
Sweetheart, we're not buying that you've never gotten Botox before because I've been watching all their foreheads since episode 1.
And that forehead ain't moving.
Second one, episode 1, season 1.
But
her episode, and she has no lines right here. She has no 11. She has no lines up here. Yeah. I do believe, and I don't think, again, I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense that she's never had filler before.
Okay, let's get to that in a bit.
I'm sorry.
But I want to say, Neelam, like, so then her friend is like, I think you should be in this movie about two women being in love.
Right.
And she was like, so, like, I don't think I could be, and I don't think I could kiss a woman. And I'm like, is this just an excuse? Are you truly uncomfortable with it?
She
like,
doesn't want to act.
Like, just don't do it.
Why are we even talking about this woman's acting career? It's like, this is when it's like, we need to move on from this.
I know. Do you think they're going to drag it out?
Yes,
like,
because there's I think there's just
it's
so
her
much
storyline.
Fluff. It's her, so I don't. There's more things that I am interested in. I was interested in, we saw Seema in the Team Yeezy. I wanted to Google that and it had that cutout on the side.
Wait, when was that?
She wore a t-shirt and it said Team Yeezy.
Oh, when she was at the boutique?
And it had a bunch of like characters that they used to do, the old t-shirts from like the 90s of like the athletic shirts where it's like the Broncos like Super Bowl winners and it'd have like the cartoon head of like John Elway or whatever. And again, I'm terrible at football even though I'm betting on it right now, but like
which is a whole other story.
It's a whole, I'm betting right now on sports, but like she had that. There's so much Kardashian obsession.
Oh my God.
I've never seen this in any television show.
And they're flaunting it, like showing Kylie wishing that girl happy birthday.
Is it because she's famous, or was it a cameo?
I was wondering if it was a cameo, honestly. Right. And then I was like, you know, they're showing it though, like this is really cool. And I think I think I said this last time, like there is a bit of like America worship that goes on in India, though they'll never like really own up to it.
Right.
And in this situation, it's like they see the Kardashians as the ideal, where like you and I, or I'll just speak for myself, I see them and I'm like, that is not at all what I want for myself or anyone I know.
I think the thing that we forget about the Kardashians, which this other podcast called Ask Rona was saying about Tom Cruise, is like we forget that they are on an island, so to say.
Yeah, like
their
reality is so
and just cut off,
detached.
Okay, so say like if they have buco bucks, you know, $100 million in the bank. The lack of freedom they have, combined with the pressure for the beauty pressure,
yes,
the unrealistic expectations of these Kardashian, it's
scrutiny.
The scrutiny. When we all think about it and really dissect it, it's everyone's hell.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. It's like you don't actually want that level of people watching you, and
no
I
one
see
wants
it
that.
Reflected in the plastic surgery, like
and that's the thing with the little girls, and unclear. So it was Shania and the cousin talking about the Kardashians, and you don't want the plastic surgery surrounding it. You know, it's like, and the Kardashians are hard to pick and take from, right?
Yeah, because they've literally altered their entire body
image, and it's like which I'm referencing the Dorit, thing,
who now looks like a Kardashian,
and it was little by little every year she was chipping away at the face,
and literally,
you know, literally chipping away at the face, and that's the thing. It's like,
these are serious things.
And we forget, like the Chloe thing, which my cousin Mary and I, shout out to her because we talk about all of our Kardashian stuff, because we were watching the Jada Pinkett Smith Red Table Talk with Lori Loughlin's daughter, who I'll never remember.
Olivia Jade, because Olivia Jade's gotten a nose job, and we were just talking about like it's just a little too small. But like, because ideally you want the nose job, right? Like, and I know I'm going down into this really, but you're looking at Olivia Jade's where it's like they made it a little too small, and then you look at Chloe. Yeah.
And she kept on chipping away at that nose. And now it's like she has a Michael Jackson nose.
Yeah.
And we're all kind of used to it. Like those girls are used to these faces.
Yeah.
Because we're used to this Instagram, you know, the visuals are really interesting with our brains these days because we're so quick to accept their new faces, right?
Yeah. Which is like, and the obsession with beauty, or what we think beauty is, and like it's just...
Was I totally going off on a tangent, or was I...
No, because like, well, I look at Shania, who is
gorgeous,
fucking beautiful,
and absolutely stunning.
You can just see that like if she's looking at Kylie Jenner and being like, that is who I want to be. Kylie started getting work done
17,
when she was a teenager.
16. Yeah.
Which is like, the only good thing about being a teenager is that you don't need to do that shit.
Right.
Or you
have
shouldn't
the rest
feel
of your
like
life.
You have to, you know?
Right.
It's like...
Well, and now it's the thing is with the Kardashians, like I said, it's a runaway train, right? So we're going to always...
It's never,
And what we see as a click of the button of them overnight, like changing their face...
is in reality like serious surgeries.
Serious surgery. And I know of some, you know, you go down for those surgeries, you signed papers where you're like, if I die, it's not on my doctor.
Kanye's mom died.
Kanye's dog and Kanye's mom. What's her name again? Is it Donna?
I can't remember.
She died on the operating table for a routine liposuction.
Yeah.
And that's sad. I'm not saying it to call them out because
it's tragic. It's
awful.
Tragic.
And I think that's what people, again, I'm a little bit of a Kanye apologist in the sense is I believe his mental illness is very serious.
Yes.
And I think that I excuse his behavior for that. Yeah. And the fact he says how much money and power he has, but I do think he is digesting the fact that his money and power killed his mom in a sense.
Yeah, and he's been transparent about that to some extent.
But worship,
it's very complicated. It's so complicated.
But even with getting back to the Yeezy shirt,
yeah,
is putting Kanye on a pedestal, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I do want to say that though these women are doing that, plenty of people in America are doing the same thing. We're
not targeting.
No judgment, really. I think we're just noticing a very interesting kind of phenomenon in the pop culture space
and
in South Asia,
seeping into the South Asian community.
Yeah, and these people who are being looked up to by a lot of people in India, this is how they're presenting themselves. So it's interesting. So let's talk about the Botox and the Reiki.
So, do you think Neelam has had Botox or fillers before this? Yes or no?
I don't know enough about it. To be very honest,
she's 50, right?
If I had to get something done, because I never will, because like Bhavana, I am fucking terrified of I know myself and my anxiety well enough to know that that's not good for me. Mm-hmm. So I would totally be like, sign me up for that Reiki session. If it doesn't do anything to my face, it looks like a great hour of relaxation.
There you go. I mean, we're all going in for different things when it comes to beauty, right?
100%.
And there's no wrong answer.
There isn't, but and I do feel like the show was just trying to poke fun at Bhavana, but I was like, that looks like a great session.
The thing is, so Bhavana has, again, the Buko bucks. If you had only $100 as your friend to be like, I want to get something done and I only have $100 to spend on it,
I would be
I would talk you out of it because it's spend it on getting your nail. You know what I mean? Something that you'll see, or a massage.
I have $100 for a beauty treatment of some kind.
Just get a massage or something, because this isn't going to do anything. But if you're her and you have so much money and you can go to this woman once a month, then kudos.
Yeah.
Right?
And I loved how confident she was about it. She was like, fuck with those women.
Good for her.
It makes me feel better. I think I look good. And I was
the thing is,
good for you.
She's walking out of that procedure feeling probably more confident than Kylie walking out of getting her lips done.
And okay, so they're showing Neelam on the table, the stress on her face and in her body and what she was saying. I think she was happy with the results afterwards.
Couldn't tell the difference, but that's just me.
But I couldn't tell the difference either, honestly. But she was stressed. Yeah. That was a very stressful experience for her. I don't think that was acting. But to your point,
but I do think she's gotten work. I don't think she's great with needles.
But she's had stuff done before.
I think the movement.
That was not the first time she went to that doctor.
No. And again, another kind of light-skinned, like we talked about, administering the beauty and kind of creating. And I myself, I'm no stranger to needles. I will state. I mean, I think I've made it pretty obvious, but on this podcast, but. Yeah, I mean, is she as old as Jennifer Aniston?
Neelam?
Yeah.
She's
Neelam.
50. She said she's 50, right?
So I think like Jennifer Aniston, I'm just going to
take a look.
I'm just curious. So Jennifer's 51.
Okay, so they're basically the same age.
So I'm guessing, not that they've had the same amount of procedures, but she's done procedures to maintain that youthful glow and look. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's shameful at all.
No.
And it just, for me, makes me question, Neelam is so just trying to put forth, and I do believe she's very innocent.
Yeah.
But I'm not, it was hard because, like, she's trying to put forth the press, like her press release, you know?
Yes.
When she was having breakfast or whatever it was with her family, I was thinking back into the golden age of movies. And I'm talking about the Judy Garlands, the Doris Days.
Yes.
Where they would invite reporters to come over your house to do a day of questions when they got to see you act like a mom.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know. It did feel very manufactured versus Seema and her son, Johan. Oh my God. Which like I think was
Seema.
a little manufactured as well, but like
they're sitting on the
sitting
couch
at the table, yelling at him yelling at her.
the Nutella just like spooning in. I was even talking about her older son.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Seema, unlike Neelam, she's putting it all out there. Yeah. She's not
Seema
worried.
Is so gorgeous to me. I wish I looked like Seema.
Yeah. I mean, they're all gorgeous.
They're all gorgeous. There's something very captivating to me that I'm drawn to, and I think it's because she's into the brands and she's trendy or whatever.
But I just feel like she's real. Like something about her reminds me of some of my family members. Just like
interesting.
I feel like the way she's talking with her sons and just like kind of doing it's just like I'm watching a normal conversation happen here, which I appreciate.
Did you think of like, so I'm watching these women interact with their children, and this is what I've said since we started the podcast. It's like, and I had like a challenging upbringing with my mom or whatever, but there's something to say about how much these women love their children.
Oh my God. That is real.
You rarely see in the Housewives universe.
Yes.
Like comparing like Dorit
to the way she brings her kids on the show is so
my God.
It's like, please just stop bringing the kids on the show.
We don't need to see the accessory bag.
No, like please stop using them as pawns.
There's something called that I learned in therapy of like when narcissists have children, it's a narcissist extension of themselves, and there's nothing I see more than Dorit in that sense, and it's not at all apparent in these women, these Bollywood housewives.
They like when they say like Nirvana is more important than this Botox appointment. Like of course. But then also it's like all of them said like my daughter right now is the most important thing to me, and like she always will be, and I totally believe that, you know, like they really do care about their kids, and I like that they have their kids on the show as much as they do. I think that that's a nice touch.
It is, because you can see their heart. You know, their heart is literally shining through their bodies, and that for me is one of the most attractive things as a viewer.
So now we see a little bit of what the actual dynamic is with Seema living across the street from Sohail, her husband.
A lot to say about that.
And the kids, like, Nirvan, like, spends all day at dad's house but sleeps at mom's house. Is that what's going on?
Which, you know, I love that living arrangement. You know, when I heard that... Andrew's going to listen to these and be like, what the fuck? Everyone thinks you hate me. Like, but I, again, like, just love it. And love that the kids can just walk across the street.
But how often do you think Seema and Sohail, like, talk to each other, see each other? Do you think they're still sleeping together?
Does it matter? She seems like so happy about their living arrangements and comfortable.
She does seem really happy, I have to say. But I'm also like, there's something in that, like, I need to know more about that marriage.
So let me say, and I think I've said this on this podcast or the Gossip Colin podcast.
Yeah.
Like when I first heard about a married couple living in separate houses, I heard about Helena Bonham Carter and what's his name? Who did
the director?
Yeah, Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And they had side-by-side houses.
I know. I mean,
and that is...
See, okay, so I see that, like, if Patrick got hit by a bus.
Oh, God. Jesus. Well, okay, we're going to go there.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'll think about this scenario in my life, too.
The hit by a bus scenario where, like, the father of my child
is no longer here.
Is gone, and I'm in my mid-30s. After many years of mourning, I decide to partner up with someone else. At that point, I am set in my ways. Yeah. I have my house. I have my kid. I want to live next door to you and still be in a relationship. I understand that a lot more than we are starting out young in a family. We have kids. And like the age gap between Nirvana and Johan.
That was what I wanted. I was curious about that.
Is Johan his kid?
Unclear.
So this is stuff. Okay, we are going to invite some actual Indian.
Right. Because
I'm calling myself out here. I am Indian American, so I am not as up on all this stuff.
Because I want to know how
be.
famous Chunky is.
We need to know.
Is that so weird? Like him? I need to know how famous Chunky is.
Chunky, tell us. No, but we're going to talk with some people who maybe have more of the inside scoop on this. And if you have it, will you just tell us, like DM us, please?
Right.
Like, what is going on in Seema's marriage and family?
The thing is I doubt they started this way, right?
No, they definitely... I mean, in India, you live with your extended family. I mean, all this stuff. So, like, their situation is very modern.
The hard thing is so speaking of living situation, is Maheep.
Yes.
She looks like she lives in an office.
Okay, so that's how upscale Indian apartments look like, though.
Do you know, can you see what I'm saying from a white American's point of view? Doesn't it look like an office that they got rid of all the cubicles and just put a couch in?
Yeah, but that's fancy in Bombay.
Is it because, and I try to reason it, it's because probably the floor cools it down, that floor, right?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. So, yes, floors, you don't have hardwoods. You don't have any of that. You need to have tile to stay cool in summer.
I guess for me, walking into that space, thinking of when they first rented it or bought it, I was trying to see the attraction of it. Because in New York...
But how do you stay... Also, like, heating is harder there. So, like, you need to have smaller spaces to, like, climate control. So
okay,
this is like a developing world thing. Yeah.
We need to hear this as white people, like...
That place that Neelam was in, had that beautiful, like... forest background and all that. Like, that is, like, very modern. Okay. Also, you'll notice no open kitchen, open floor plan situation. That's because in India, when you have that much money, you have a staff cooking all of your meals and you want them hidden away. Yeah.
It's interesting because I did see, and I'm not trying to sound like a bitch.
Yeah.
When the staff brought food... to Seema and is it Nirvan?
Yeah.
They didn't say thank you. And I know I sound so terrible saying that, but like...
No. It's something that I struggle with when I go to India and see like people, the staff in the houses that I'm staying in. These are my family members and things. And the treatment, and my mom will say this about some of the relationships between her family and the staff, that she's totally turned off by it and she grew up there. But it is... So
you don't say thank... And I'm not trying to judge. It was just something I noticed. So you don't say thank you at all through the day?
I don't think it's expected. I mean, there is the element of they are staff being paid.
Right.
Like, they are doing a job.
Right.
Are they getting paid enough? No, I can guarantee you that they are not. They should be paid more. But it is a cultural thing too. Like saying thank you and I love you and all these things. This is not a very South Asian thing.
You don't say it's I love you is not really in the cards for?
No. Like I don't say I love you to my parents.
Ever.
No.
Yeah.
It's weird. But I say it to my son because I'm American.
Yeah.
You know? But like it's an interesting... The niceties that we see in America and in white culture to some extent don't always translate to South Asian culture, but it doesn't automatically mean that there's a lack of respect.
Right.
But sometimes it does. So it's complicated. It's hard to make assumptions about what's going on there.
Right. And I wasn't trying to, it was something I noticed.
No. Thank you for bringing it up because I think that's an interesting thing that a lot of people will not have considered. Me, I didn't even notice that.
Interesting.
So that's an interesting difference.
Yeah, just because I'm noticing when people put the drinks down or whatever.
No, there's
we're also used to, and I think it's also just because I waited tables and stuff. And granted, it was nothing like what they're doing. Yeah,
and so that's a different situation too, even. But still, yeah, it is. That's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so getting ready for this party.
Right.
The red carpet thing.
Which we haven't seen yet.
Gauri Khan is Shah Rukh Khan's wife.
Okay.
So this is a big fucking deal. I think I've mentioned Shah Rukh Khan before. I even know who he is.
So is he like the Tom Cruise?
Yes. Like in even time period wise, like Tom was at his height in the 90s, let's say. Mm-hmm. Same with Shah Rukh
Even
Khan.
in the 80s, I would say, too.
Like same situation.
So he has his own type of Top Gun movie.
Bollywood royalty. And that's like, yeah. So his wife, Gauri Khan, is having this party.
That's why they're all freaking out.
So Shah Rukh Khan is going to be in the show.
I can't believe they have all these big names. Again, the housewives, big names in my book.
Yeah.
But Z-listed in a lot of pop culture.
Yeah. So it's a different caliber of person on the show already, which is cool. Like, I think it brings
awesome. I mean, we're really getting into, as an American, I'm really getting into what the Bollywood culture is like.
Yeah. So can we talk about the MILF conversation?
Okay.
Like, Sanjay, calm down.
I know.
Like, he looked like he was gonna like get up and leave.
I know. And again, I'm very attracted to Sanjay.
Yeah, Sanjay's
and
a good-looking
Maheep is
man.
my favorite. I aspire to be her as a mother.
Yes, I think they are a power couple for sure. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, Sanjay, like, and this is where I think a sexist culture that is even more like American culture is sexist, world culture is sexist.
Yes.
Let's just put that on the table. But sexism is at a whole other level in India. And I feel totally comfortable saying that. And I think we see that in this conversation.
And we've established that women in Bollywood have been treated differently, right? Is that true than men in Bollywood?
I don't know, but I would assume so.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I assume they don't get paid as well. I assume they don't enjoy a lot of the things that men in Bollywood enjoy. Not as much. Mm-hmm. But I think his discomfort.
I know.
In this word that, like, I'm also like, how have you not heard of MILF?
Well, and it's weird that he throws around the F word.
Right.
So much. Right. It's interesting in any Housewives franchise, because I'll just include this. Mm-hmm. There's always people that push the boundaries.
Like Brandy.
But then there's this pearl clutching moment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like Erica Jane will do whatever. And if you saw Erica Jane's first season with Pantygate, quote unquote, there was a pearl clutching moment with that. And so it's interested to see.
Who was clutching the pearls?
Sanjay.
No. In the Erica Jane situation.
She was clutching the pearls.
Okay. I haven't seen that season yet.
But
previous to that, Brandy's all throwing around the F word in seasons 2 and 3.
And LVP clutches her pearls, right?
Well, yeah,
Everyone.
LVP to some extent, but I think it was more like Adrian and some other people. And I'm just like, get over yourself.
Who gives a
now
fuck?
They all curse like sailors.
Oh, I know. And it's like, and do you think Sanjay honestly believed it or was doing it for the cameras to preserve an image?
He looked legit
Okay.
upset. That was my read on it. Like, he looked legit upset about it. And like, I'm kind of like, I wonder how he's going to digest that watching it back.
It's hard to see a man react to things that women own, I'll say.
Yeah, because it is kind of
that are attributed to women.
I do think MILF is like a female empowerment term for sure.
And I never want to hear a man use the word bitch. You know what I mean? Like, that's something, since I was young, like, I never want to hear a man say that because that's our word.
Yeah, for sure. It was interesting.
What did you think about Chunky, everyone just knowing he goes to the potty all the time? That's my kind of, my kind of talk.
You do you. You gotta take a shit for 15 minutes. Like, you do you.
Chunky
I love how he's like, you know what? The bathroom is my happy place.
So Chunky seems like the weird uncle. Doesn't he always seem like the weird uncle that's just like...
Yeah, like in a creepy way, or like
just the weird uncle that's just gonna rat off like to you. That sounds like an acid, like not an acid trip, but just a strange uncle that's or he's that guy at the party. You don't know who he came with, but he's at the party. He's kind of drunk and he's just rattling off something random.
Yes, that's Chunky.
We don't even live with him. I mean, I couldn't even imagine living with him. It must be such a trip.
Also interesting that Bhavana is his wife, right? Like, that juxtaposition is interesting to me. But who's your favorite husband so far? Sanjay,
just because I'm attracted to him.
Yeah, Sanjay's definitely the best looking. Samir's whole reluctancy to get dressed made me very uncomfortable.
It's just like, it felt like it was a really, so I was thinking about this when I was watching them. So I am not in improv, but I listen to podcasts about improv. And then like a lot of actors we love right now, and comedians came from improv. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I've learned through podcasting about improv, you say yes and.
Okay.
To keep the scene going.
Mm-hmm.
And with Neelam and him, there's a lot of no's, and it stops. It stops the scene a little bit.
But do you think that was because he was legitimately like, I don't want to go?
I think it was that.
It felt real to me.
Neelam told the producers, this is something that happens, and then they're like, let's set it up. Mm-hmm. 2 hours before, and we'll try different scenes, you know?
Yeah.
And again, there were no yes and. It was like a lot of no, I don't want to. And it's the Neelam with acting. It's the no, I don't want to do it. And it's like, why should... I think as an audience member, when there's like a no and there's a hard stop with a no...
Yeah.
I'm not invested in the situation.
Yeah. It's like, just end this.
End this and go on.
Yeah.
So that's my feedback to the producers, is have them more say yes and, or yes but, or whatever.
Yeah.
Does that critique make sense?
Yes, I think it does. And
I mean, what did you think?
I don't know. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't have anything good to say about it other than I think I was pleasantly surprised with how the series developed in episodes 3 and 4. I feel like we got more in those episodes, and now we're halfway through. So we're going to be recapping 5 and 6 next. And I wonder, now they're going to go on a trip.
Right, which I'm all about a trip. And I want to see them pack. And I want to see the closets.
We want to see what they're like outside of their homes, too. I think that says a lot about people.
And there's something about the housewives that they make traveling, because traveling, it's like you go to the airport, you see the people in the fucking pajama pants, and you're like, this is just like such a clown show. There's something that the housewives really do really well is making traveling glamorous again, making packing
champagne,
but packing it's an event and changing and taking these planes and looking fabulous on the planes.
Yes, and we'll see how they handle that on this show. Okay, so that's
it.
Episodes 3 and 4 of Fabulous Lives of Bollywood Wives. Join us for our next one. We are just releasing random episodes this month because we have a lot of content to get out there. And we appreciate all of you listening.
Right. And if you've gotten this far, I always say, please rate us 5 stars on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, because our numbers are going up substantially. And we just love to see it in the reviews. We'd love for you to tell a friend.
100%. And we'll be back with more recaps. Thank you for listening, and namaste, bitches.
Namaste, bitches.